Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today we're going to talk about natural tinders. You hear a lot of people say as you're walking back and forth through the woods and out enjoying nature, you should always pick up tinder while you're out there. So when the time comes to build your fire, you've got what you need with you. Now today we're going to find 3 different types of tinder that will combust with our ferro rod that we keep on our knife all the time. So stay with me and we'll go out and we'll try to find some of my favorites and demonstrate exactly how to process those. Okay guys, welcome back to my personal space. Let's talk about what we found. First of all, here's the fat wood, and we're going to process that down. And when I say process it, all I'm going to do is break this off into a stick, hopefully about the size of my finger and about yay long. And then I'm going to shave it down, and I'll just take my knife and scrape it and make a pile of basically real fine sawdust. And a lot of people call that Mayan dust. Cattail. And here's one left over from last year, and I'm just going to pull that out and fluff it up. That's going to give a real fast flash fire. And of course the cedar. And the cedar we're just going to take and wad and break that up and get it real fine. Now I did find a couple of other things out there. I kind of went crazy. This is the bark off of a paper bark birch tree. And we can process that down. It has good oils in it that'll burn. This I pulled off of a pine tree I showed you. Look at the amount of resin that's attached to that bark. Now this is not known to take a spark, nor is pine bark really famous for getting a fire going from a ferrocerium rod, but these are items that will help us build our fire once we get that initial flame. I've also gathered some grasses that we can make a bird's nest, and I also grabbed some real fine stuff, and if you remember we got some of that cedar. So let me process some of this stuff up and I'll get right back to you. Okay, I realize this fat wood pile on wood is not showing up that great, but let me just show you what I'm doing. I'm just taking my knife and scraping along that fat wood, and this is what I'm looking for, this real fine stuff. Mayan dust they call it. Alright, that's about enough. Let me get ready and we'll try to strike it. Okay, let's put a strike to this fat wood and see what happens. Yep, there we go. Okay, so that's fat wood. You can take that stuff and make little feather sticks out of it also, and that'll help your fire get going real well. Okay, now we'll do the cattail. This is a new cattail this year. This was found right beside that one. This is just some fluff that was left over from last year. I like to keep a little bit of this around the house. It makes great char. Just fluff this stuff up. Now the problem is this stuff will start, but it takes off and it burns fast, so you've got to have some other stuff ready. Nice bird's nest built. Take your time, because once this goes, it's off. And as you can see, that burns just that surface real hot, real fast. One more time. Cattail. Alright, let's move on to the cedar. Now the cedar, I pulled it off in these sheets like this, and I need to really break this down and get it real fine like the Mayan dust. Give me a minute and I'll do that. Be right back. Okay, on the cedar, remember, we're going from something like this to something that's real fine like this. You have to really process this stuff up good. I just put it in the palm of my hand, work it back and forth, pull it, break it up, really try to get it as fine as I can. Especially with it raining like it has the last couple of nights. You try to pull this stuff off of the tops of dead branches and on the main trunk to where it's the driest, but it gets challenging. Oop, had a little flash. Expose a little bit more of that. There it goes. Not quite. It's trying. Look, there it goes. Oh, it's trying so hard. This really is a good one, guys. It's just, it is so damp, so wet. There we go. Now, it's pretty interesting. Usually once you get that little bit of a spark on it, man, she's gone. There it goes. Not quite. It'll strike up. It just doesn't want to keep on going. There it goes. Make sure you can see that. No, maybe not. The tripod doesn't want to work. There we go. Now this birch bark I did the same way. I put it in my hand and just processed it pretty fine. It's still a little bit bigger than I'd like it, but it's starting to rain on us. Took a couple of strikes, but as you see, it's burning pretty good now. But you have to protect the stuff, nurture it. But once it gets going, you can tell it'll really go. The key is in finding it dry, keeping it, processing it up real well, having some small stuff to add to it so that you can get your fire going. It's not enough just to have your tinder. Sometimes it takes multiple kinds of tinder and different sizes of your tinder to really get a good fire going.